Welcome students to session number 61 of chapter number 1 physical world. We have already discussed few topics in the previous video. Now today we are going to discuss new topics into this video. Now starting with this today's topic, I want to brush up the concept that we have discussed before. I want to tell you that in classical mechanics, you'll able to see, or in classical physics is based on macroscopic phenomena, you'll able to observe one thing over here. There are two types of domains in physics. The first domain is macroscopic domain. The first domain is macroscopic domain. The second domain is microscopic domain. Second domain is microscopic domain. First is macroscopic, second is microscopic. Now the word itself, macro means something very large, clear, and micro means something very small. So in the case of macroscopic domain, you will able to notice one thing over here, that is macroscopic domain is nothing but the study of the objects at terrestrial astronomical scale, where distances are very large, clear or not? So again I am repeating, macroscopic domain is a study of the objects at terrestrial, laboratory or astronomical scale where distances are large. Also microscopic domain is nothing but a study of the objects at atom, molecular, nuclear scale, atomic scale, molecular scale or at nuclear scale. We would able to study about very small tiny particles, yes or no? That's why it's known as what? Microscopic domain, clear? Again I am repeating, first is macroscopic domain, second is microscopic domain. First, macroscopic domain is the study related to objects at very large scale, that is either at laboratory scale, terrestrial scale or astronomical scale. And microscopic domain deals with the study of objects at very low scale, or you can say very small scale, that is atomic scale, molecular scale or nuclear scale. Till this clear? Fine. Now I want to tell you one more thing, that is classical physics divided into various sub branches. The sub branches includes like electrodynamics, optics, mechanics, clear, etc. These are the branches of what? Classical physics. Now we are going to discuss the one more important thing today, that is physics, technology and society. How physics is associated with technology, how physics developed technology, what is the connection of physics with society, that we are going to study into this video. Now very first point over here, the discipline of the thermodynamics arose from the need to understand. Now what is thermodynamics? Thermodynamics is a branch of classical physics that deals with what? Temperature, concepts of temperature, clear, entropy, internal energy, etc. Here they have mentioned the discipline of thermodynamics arose from the need to understand and improve the working of heat engines. Yes, the working of heat engines, where they were studying what? The efficiency of the heat engines. Efficiency of anything can be calculated towards output of that thing divided by input of that thing. Output by input gives you efficiency of any object, clear? You can consider any heat engine and you can find out the efficiency for that. For that you need to what? Calculate first input given to it, output you received, clear? So input given, output received. Input minus output is going to give you the losses that happens into every object or every machine. You won't be able to find out that every machine will have efficiency 100%. There is no such machine in this universe which will give you efficiency 100%. Net 100% is not possible. It can give you 99%, but it cannot reach to perfect 100%. In fact, human efficiency is not also 100%. Can you see? Can you have observed that? And can you have you heard that the human efficiency is 100%? Whatever you give input to your body, complete input is given to what? Output? No, that is not possible. There are some losses. Always happens in every situation. So here they have discussed that thermodynamics arose or developed with the help of physics in order to determine what? The working of heat engines. Also there was, as we know, it is inseparable from the industrial revolution in England in the 18th century. It is related to what? Industrial revolution. Industrial revolution means what? Development of new technology, development of new machines in England, which was associated in the 18th century. This was the very first point. Again I am repeating, discipline of the thermodynamics arose from the need to understand and improve the working of heat engines. In order to understand the working of heat engines, a branch of classical physics developed, that was thermodynamics, with the help of physics. Also they have so that it is inseparable from the industrial revolution in England in the 18th century, as it has very, you can say, very deep connection with what? Industrial revolution in England in 18th century, where new technology came into existence, new advancements were made, and you will be able to see that the growth of technology began in 18th century in England through industrial revolution. Till this clear? Very good. The second point we do have, there is an example of the wireless communication technology that followed the discovery of the basic laws of electricity and magnetism in the 19th century. And the second thing came into existence, or second thing they developed with the help of physics was communication technology, wireless communication technology. Clear? Today we are using wireless communication technology, yes or no? Mobile phones, you can see that is a big example for what wireless communication technology. Yes. So you're able to see an example of wireless communication technology that followed the discovery of basic laws, because this wireless communication technology came into existence after developing basic laws regarding electricity and magnetism. Electricity and magnetism. So they have mentioned that the discovery of the basic laws of electricity and magnetism in 19th century. This new terminology or new branch wireless communication technology came into existence when there was developed of what? Basic laws of electricity and magnetism in the 19th century. Till this clear? Again, I am repeating the second point. An example of the wireless communication technology that followed the discovery of the basic laws of electricity and magnetism in the 19th century. The third important point given over here, that is in 1938, Hahn and Minter. In 1938, Hahn and Minter discovered the phenomena of neutron-induced fission of uranium, which would serve as the basis of nuclear power reactors and nuclear weapons. Yes, here they have developed what? Radioactive nuclear fission. See, there are two processes. One is nuclear fusion and second is nuclear fission. Nuclear fusion never happens on the surface of the earth. I tell you why, because it is an exothermic reaction where a large amount of it, tremendous amount of heat is being released, where such type of heat cannot be deliberately produced on what? Surface of the earth. I can give you the example of nuclear fusion is the formation of the sun. The reaction going on in the sun. The surface temperature of the sun is 6000 Kelvin, where 6000 Kelvin cannot be existed on the surface of earth. There is a logic behind that. If you go nearer to the sun, will you able to survive? No. If you go to Mercury also will not be able to survive. In fact, on Venus also will not be able to survive. The reason behind that is what? Extreme heat of the sun. So such temperature cannot be attained on the surface of the earth, that is 6000 Kelvin. So you can say the nuclear fission is not possible on the surface of the earth. Nuclear fusion cannot be possible on the surface of earth, but nuclear fission can be happen on the earth. Nuclear fission is nothing but what? Disintegration of the parent nuclei into what? Daughter nuclei in the form of energy, and you can say heat energy is being released. Clear? That nuclear fission can be happen on surface of the earth, and with the help of this nuclear fission we can form nuclear bombs. Nuclear bombs works on the principle of what? Nuclear fission. I will give you an example of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where there was a nuclear war. Yes or no? They bombarded nuclear bombs, and they were made up of radioactive elements. And due to the radiation of the radioactive elements, there was what happened? You will able to observe that the persons got genetic disorders due to the radioactive elements that were used in nuclear bombs. Still the effect exists. So you can see that radioactive material is extremely dangerous, or you can say that is used for nuclear bombs, nuclear weapons. So here they have given that in 1938, Hahn and Minter discovered the phenomena of neutron-induced fission of the uranium. Means they have done fission of uranium in 1938. The experiment was carried out by Hahn and Minter. Nuclear fission of uranium. Uranium is considered to be a radioactive material. See, this uranium is used as what? Source of material, or you can say source of material to produce electricity in nuclear power reactors. We do have a biggest nuclear power reactor in Gujarat, that is Kakrapar. Yes or no? It is the biggest nuclear power station, where you will be able to see that this uranium and thorium are excited, or you can say are used in order to produce electricity. Clear? Radioactive materials are used in order to produce electricity is known as nuclear reaction, or you can say nuclear process is being carried out in order to convert this energy of radioactive material into electricity. Here transfer of one form of energy into another, you can see. Nuclear material to electricity we can see, and the process that is being carried out is known as nuclear reactor. The processes in which it is being carried out is known as nuclear reactor. So they are mentioned in 1938, Hahn and Minter discovered the phenomena of neutron-induced fission of uranium, which would serve as the basis of nuclear process reactors and nuclear weapons. Uranium can also be used to create bombs, which can be considered as what? Nuclear weapons. Till this clear? Fine. The next point we do have another important example is the silicon chip. Silicon chip was used for manufacturing what? Computers. Yes or no? So again, they have given another important example is the silicon chip that triggered the computer revolution in the last 3 decades of 20th century. With the invention of silicon chip, you will able to observe that there was modification coming into what computers. Have you seen before computers desktops? They were too large, occupying more space. Their body structure was big. Clear or not? What happens? Revolution was continuing in the computer field. Our inventions were continuing and they become what? Thinner day by day. Now we do have palm top also. We do have palm top also, just small like this. We do have computer in very small size too. So day by day we are improvising with the technology with the help of what? Physics. Yes, new inventions are happening that are being applied in order to produce what? Latest technology which is well revolutionized and as per the need of the society. Till this clear? So they have given another important example is the silicon chip. With the help of silicon chip, what happens? That triggered the computer revolution in the last 3 decades of 20th century. Silicon chip is nothing but ICs, integrated circuits. Clear? And with the help of this ICs and motherboard, that is nothing but what of various instrument or ICs, and with this help you can manufacture the computer. Silicon chip was a basic element for the revolution of computer in the last 3 decades of 20th century. Till this clear? Moving to the last point, we do have the most significant area to which physics has and will contribute is the development of alternative energy sources. Yes, a very big problem of today is that we don't have enough resources in order to produce what? Electricity. So we do have to find out the renewable energy resources in order to what? Develop electricity for the future needs. Because right now we do have the stock which is on the verge to extinct. On the verge to extinct. Right now we are using non-renewable energy sources which cannot be replenished in a short period of time. We do have stock, but we have used since so many years. We are using since so many years. Now it's on the verge to extinct. Is on the verge to finish it off. Now from where we'll get the resources? So we have to find out the alternatives, and these alternatives are being studied, or you can say experimented, or you can say discovered with the help of physics. And this alternative source of energy, probably renewable energy sources, will help us to find out the alternative sources to produce energy. Till this clear perfectly? Very good. So this was the what? Physics in context to technology and society. So fine, we are moving to the next topic, that is what are the categories that in which classical physics is broadly classified. Now see, classical physics deals with the macroscopic phenomena that I have already told. It doesn't deal with microscopic phenomena. Microscopic phenomena were delved into quantum mechanics. Clear? Macroscopic phenomena, classical physics. Microscopic phenomena, quantum mechanics. So here you'll able to see one thing, that you'll able to see that the classical physics is classified into broadly categories of sub-branches like electrodynamics, optics, mechanics, thermodynamics. Clear? Now the very first branch I'm going to take, that is electromagnetics. What is electromagnetics? The word itself states electromagnetic means electricity as well as magnetism is able to combine in order to form a branch that is known as electrodynamics. Till this clear? So I'm going to give you the example for that. The electrodynamics deals with electric and magnetic phenomena associated with the charged and magnetic bodies. The very first point over here, that is electrodynamics branch, deals with what? Electric and magnetic phenomena associated with charge and magnetic bodies, because electricity is associated to charge and magnetism is associated to magnetic bodies. So similarly I can state that the very first point, that is electrodynamic, deals with what? The study of electricity and magnetism for charged and magnetism body. Till this clear? It is the basic laws. There were basic laws given into this field by Coulomb, Oersted, Ampere, Faraday, which were included into their equations of Maxwell. Clear? There were various laws given into this branch by scientists Oersted, Ampere, Faraday, Coulomb, and encapsulated by Maxwell in this set of equations. These laws were encapsulated by scientist Maxwell, unified by Maxwell in a set of equations. The third point, we have the motion of. Now what are the examples that we are going to discuss in electrodynamics branch? The example that we are going to discuss in electrodynamics branch are number one, that is current carrying conduction, motion of a current carrying conductor. Number one, motion of a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. Second, we are going to see the response of an AC circuit given to what? AC voltage signal. Third, we are going to see that is the behavior, the propagation of radio waves in ionosphere. Fourth, we are going to see working of antenna, etc. These such topics are covered in the branch of electrodynamics. Till this clear? Again, I want to tell you one more thing over here, that is the examples are, we are going to study the motion of an electric current carrying conductor in magnetic field. Second, we are going to see the response of a circuit to AC voltage signal. Third, we are going to study means examples that are going to studied in electrodynamics are third, that is we do have that is working of an antenna. Fourth, we do have that is propagation of radio waves in ionosphere, etc. Till this clear? Okay. The second class we do have that is optics. See, optics, from the name optics, it deals with the light. It deals with light phenomena. Clear? So optics deals with light. Now example of the optics that we are going means the topics that we are going to study, or you can say the study related to what? Optics. It includes the example of what? The study of microscopes and telescopes. Yes or no? That deals with what? The phenomena of light. Second, we are going to study that is in the optics that we are going to have, that is what first I have told you, that is the study of microscope and telescope. Second, we do have that is colors exhibited by thin films. Colors exhibited by thin films, etc. are the topics covered in optics. Till this clear perfectly? Fine. Very good. Now moving ahead to the third branch that we do have that. So the next video we are going to discuss that is thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is a branch that deals with the study related to what concerned with macroscopic equilibrium of the systems, and you'll able to think one important thing over there, that is it deals with the changes in temperature, entropy and internal energy, etc. of the systems through external work and heat, through external work and transfer of heat. Clear? Here you can see that the area of interest of thermodynamics are the efficiencies of refrigerators, and you can say that is a heat engines is being dealt over here. And one more example I can put for thermodynamics, that is direction of physical and chemical processes that are being what studied into this. That are the area of interest of thermodynamics, you can say. Clear? Again I am repeating, the thermodynamics deals with the system to microscopic equilibrium and is concerned with the change in internal energy, temperature, entropy, etc. of the systems through external work and transfer of heat. And the area of interest of thermodynamics includes what? The efficiencies of refrigerators or heat engines, and heat engines you can say. Also you can say the direction of the physical chemical process. Now the last topic, that the last branch that I need to discuss, that is mechanics. Mechanics deals with the study of object, or you can say the study of motion of an object at rest, or you can say the object is in motion. Clear? Because mechanics is further classified into statics, kinematics and dynamics. Statics, the study of motion of an object which is at rest. The study of object at rest is done for static. Then kinematics, the study of motion of a body at the study of motion of a body which is in motion without considering the cause for the motion, that is kinematics. And last is dynamic, the study of motion of an object taking into consideration or taking into account the cause for the motion. Till this clear? We'll see few more topics left for this chapter. That is almost 2-3 topics that we'll discuss into the next session. Thank you.